I'm not doing this right. This one?
Yeah.
Who didn't practice? Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church. This includes our congregation in Birmingham. If you ever go there, you'll love that too for the scenery. And to our folks online, whoever you are, whomever you are, wherever you are today, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Our settled minister, Reverend Julie Conradi, is on sabbatical through September, and if you have a question or need any support, please check out our sabbatical brochure, reach out to our lay leadership, or contact Reverend Ruth Van Lilligan, our sabbatical minister. She's pretty awesome too. To all here this morning, welcome. The prelude prepares us for worship. Thank you, Ken. In the spirit of inclusivity, one of the best words ever, and welcome. Please greet one another, especially those you may not recognize, and we have lots of great folks to meet today. Folks online, please greet others in the chat. Our opening words are provided by Kathleen Rollins. Spirit of life, we come together this Easter morning to rejoice in the ongoing song that is life within us and around us. In this season of renewal, of life bursting into bloom or song, the hidden beauty of nature preparing to unfold reminds us that we too have hidden inner beauty, reflecting the image of your creative power. Yet for all the beauty that lives in us and among us, we doubt its realization. We question our talent, our beauty, our abilities, and our value. We become cynical about love, jaded about peace, and less hopeful about the future. We roll stones across entrances, build fences instead of gates, close fists instead of open arms. Spirit of resurrection, remind us of the power of hope to triumph over fear, the power of love to prevail over the horrors of hate, the potential for peace to be victorious over hostilities. Spirit of life, as we feel you flowing and pulsing within, we pray for a courageous and joyous faith, empowering us to become our finest and truest selves, empowering us to see your image in our brothers and sisters, empowering us to participate with you in the creation of a new time in which justice, beauty, and peace are abundantly available to all. Amen.
Amen.
In this great book, we're going to go to 1052 for our first hymn. Which lines up nicely with what I just read, the oneness of all. Oneness of everything. Stand if you can, if you want to, please. Thank you, Ken. We have a full year to learn that till next year. 1 year, all right? We're going to meet here every Thursday night. I was trying to ping on him. I was like, oh, how nice. How great. Because I couldn't hear Deb because she has that great voice too. And Good morning again. Tony Hines. Our church is supported by those who call our church home and by those who support the efforts of our church to change our world for the better. If this is your first time with us, please pass the plate. We are just glad that you are here. We share our cash plate every Sunday with organizations whose work reflects the UU values to care for marginalized persons, advocate for real and systemic change, defend our environment, and promote justice and equity for all. This week we are sharing with, or this month I should say, Brown Chapel in Selma.
Yes.
So, when we gather in loving community, we remember that we do not travel this earth alone. We share our lives as we light candles and hold each other in meditative thought and reverence. We invite you to come forward and light a candle from the common flame. You may do so in silence or speaking loudly. You may give your name and briefly share a milestone from your life. And there is no time limit. Please come on up.
Good morning. My name is Champa Dada, and I visited longtime member Alice Parker yesterday at her nursing home, and she's happy. She's relatively happy, and it was great to see her. I'm also happy to recognize Martha Morgan, who's rejoined us, come after a very long hiatus. So welcome her too. Thank you.
I'm Anna Schuber, and I just wanted to say how much fun we had yesterday at Kite Day. I know that there was a lot of other stuff going on. This year, we did not drop food on the ground and then eat it. That was last year's entertainment. This year, we were wrangling bees, the big carpenter bees. They were a lot of fun. But we'll be going probably to the lake in June or some other place, so keep that in mind because it was a lot of fun to see everybody.
First of all, I want to thank Champa for getting me here. She learned the secret. We were just texting about an hour before services, and she said, "Why not come?" Long-term commitments are harder to make than spur decisions. Some may know that personally. So I'm glad I'm here. And first, I light this candle for Mike. I lost, we all lost, and I want to thank all of y'all in the congregation for so many things, emails, text, coming to the memorial service, donations, cards, just, it meant a lot and would mean a lot to him. This congregation did. We hadn't either one been back since COVID, but we had talked about it a lot and had planned to certainly at some point. And then he just started getting worse a lot sooner than we ever expected. So that's my candle, but it's also for another event. I'm 75 today. I made it this far. I started to blow out the candle.
Martha, thank you for giving some of your photographs out at the visitation Saturday. Next week, and we have some.
Thank you for those that came.
Is that a good call?
Was his request that they be there. And so then we shared with people.
So we can get it to go. There it is. All right. Who? Can you say? We're going to light a candle for Uncle James? Oh. There you go. Good job. Okay. You ready? Yeah. Can you say we're lighting the candle
We're lighting the candle
for Papa Jim?
for Papa Jim.
There we go. Good job. Okay.
I'm Jacqueline McKenzie, or Jackie McKenzie, as many people know me. I haven't been coming very often. I'm sorry about that, but 2 jobs is a lot. Yeah. I work at Shelton, and I still work in security overnight. So lots of time taken up. So on the weekends, I get to sleep. So I'm usually sleeping in, but the last few days, I've just been waking up in the morning. So I was like, yes, come to church. So since I was here last, I got married. I went on a honeymoon. And for those of you who came to the wedding, thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. So let's see, marriage, honeymoon. Both my daughters graduated from different programs, and then my youngest is actually graduating from high school in May. She's already an EMT and working as an EMT for North Star. And then my other daughter is a CNA. She was working at a nursing home, and now she's an at-home CNA.
And that fills the heart. That's some good stuff there. Yeah. So, we're going to have some music, meditation. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Again, no practice. Can you tell? Do we have a story for all ages? You really good choices. Yes. We have lots of
Fair cow. Effie dreamed of being a state fair cow. She loved living on the farm, grazing in the fields, and giving milk every day, but still. She dreamed of being beautiful, of billowing blue ribbons and big, bodacious farms. The fair was coming up soon, and luckily her friend knew just what to do. "You're already pretty as pie," said Petunia, "but if you want to go to the fair, you need to get guzzied up a bit." "What do we do first?" asked Elfie. "First, we have to get you in shape," said Petunia. "What's wrong with my shape?" said Elfie. "Nothing. A little exercise won't fix," said Petunia. Effie did her best. "Can I exercise in the pasture?" Petunia shook her head. "Too windy." She said, "Just look at your hair." "What's wrong with my hair?" asked Effie. "Nothing a few curlers won't fix," said Petunia. "Ouch," Effie said, and headed for the door. "It's so nice outside. Can I sit in the sun?" Petunia pulled her aside. "Nope. The sun isn't good for your spots." "What's wrong with my spots?" said Elfie. "Nothing a little hair dye won't fix," said Petunia. "Can I go to the pond for a drink?" asked Elfie. Petunia gave her water bottle. "Too messy," she said. "We have to take care of your hooves." "What's wrong with my hooves?" asked Elfie. "Nothing a little paint won't fix," said Petunia. Elfie switched flies around from the wet paint. "I've been meaning to talk to you about the tail," said Petunia. "What's wrong with my tail?" "Nothing a little glue won't fix," said Petunia. "Can I still use my tail to shoo flies?" asked Elfie. Petunia shook her head. "Too old-fashioned." She said, "Well, use fly spray." "Are we done yet?" Elfie said. "Almost," said Petunia. "You'll have to correct your walk on the way." "What's wrong with my walk?" asked Elfie. "Nothing a little practice won't fix," said Petunia. Walking Elfie down the road, "Step like this, and don't forget to smile," she called. Elfie took a deep breath and set off towards the fair. When Elfie arrived, she was escorted to the biggest barn she ever laid eyes on. "Howdy do," said Elfie. The other cows. She stared. "You are all so beautiful." She looked up. "Your hair is so high." She looked down. "Your hooves are so shiny." She looked around, "And your tails are so perfect." Elfie sighed. She felt sick to all 4 parts of her stomach. Elfie walked with the other cows to show the arena. "Doesn't that breeze feel good?" Elfie asked. She stepped off the path. The cows gasped. "It'll mess up your hair." Elfie took a step into the field. "The grass smells delicious." The cows shuddered. "It'll make your teeth green." Elfie took another step. "There's a fresh water in the pond." "Oh." The cows cringed. "It'll make your belly blow." The cows shook their heads, hurried along the path, and asked each other, "What is wrong with that cow?" Effie grazed in the sunshine, cooled off in a mud hole, and drank from the pond. And then, with no one else around, she looked at herself and she smiled. Elfie clomped into the arena just in time for the judging. She picked the clover from her teeth, smiled at the judges, and said, Anybody want some fresh milk?" The next day, Elfie arrived back at the farm. She had dirt on her hooves, tangles in her hair, and a great big blue ribbon around her neck. Petunia cheered, "Effie, you're a state fair cow. But how on earth did you do it? You're a mess." Elfie grinned. Nothing a little Elfie couldn't fix.
That was a great story. Shumpa, would you like to come up and introduce our guest speaker? Thank you.
Thank you. Looking forward to Earth Day on Tuesday. The social justice team decided to invite Haysha Watson. She is the climate protection lead organizer with Hometown Organizing Project. She is an Alabama native and lives in a hometown of Vina with her husband. Vina? I was thinking of wine. Vina, sorry, with her husband, 3 dogs and 2 cats. Before working with Hometown, she spent over 5 years as a faith-based community organizer in Knoxville, Tennessee. She is passionate about building community protection and resilience in rural towns across Alabama and is thankful for the opportunity to do that specifically around climate. After her talk, she will also invite you to some of the activities that Hometown is organizing in the future, and we hope to keep up this relationship for a very long time. Come, Haysha.
Good morning, everybody. Like Shampa said, I'm Haysha Watson. I'm the lead climate protection organizer with Hometown Organizing. I'm the climate organizer for this region, so Tuscaloosa is one of our priority counties, and Tuscaloosa is a part of my region. I'm so thankful to have this opportunity to be with you all this morning. Like Shampa said, I'm from Alabama, but I did leave for a few years. I just recently moved back about a year ago. In that time away, I was a faith-based organizer. And in Knoxville, Tennessee, the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church lit our organization on fire when they came on board. Didn't matter what we were doing, be it mental health, education, transportation, housing, the UUs showed up and they made a difference working towards a world that embodies those 7 principles. And I've seen the community and love and radical acceptance that pours out of this faith, and you all have a beautiful tradition of being on the right side of history. During my time as a faith-based organizer, I worked with a lot of different denominations, a lot of different faiths. I never saw another faith more steeped in the tradition of justice and equity and simply doing the right thing. And so that's part of why I'm so excited to connect with you all today around Hometown Organizing. So if you're familiar at all with Hometown, which I'm thinking Shampa might be the only one, but hopefully you all will become more interested and involved with Hometown. We're concerned about people's physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual needs. And so we use PIES as a shorthand for this. So if you come to a Hometown meeting and hear PIES, you'll be a step ahead. You'll know that that means physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual, which also ties really closely, I think, to the mission of this congregation and this faith. And so we know in organizing, we're asking you all to use all 4 of those energies, and we want to make sure we're creating a space that honors those energies, that you can connect with and care for each of them. And part of connecting with our spirituality is sharing our stories. So in all Hometown meetings, just about it, we're going to ask you all to share stories. Today's no different, so just be prepared. If you want to share a story, I'm about to give you an opportunity. Sharing stories, it serves a few different purposes. So number 1, they connect us to ourselves and each other and to that larger web that we're all a part of. And so coming together to create spaces where we can be vulnerable and allow other people to be vulnerable is the first step in every fight towards liberation and justice. And so I want to ask a few of you to be vulnerable today, if you're willing. I'm going to ask a question, and I want you all to take some time to reflect on it, and then I'd love for a few of you to share your answers. So like I said, I'm the climate protection organizer. There's been a few tornadoes that came through Alabama recently, and we've been doing a lot of disaster recovery work. So I want to ask you all to think of a time that you or someone you loved was impacted by a disaster. So be that a natural disaster like a tornado, something like the COVID-19 pandemic, or just any kind of disaster that completely threw your life off course. I want to take a deep breath, and everyone picture that time in your life. How did you feel during the disaster and the response? What was your emotional feelings? How did those emotions travel and feel in your physical body? Did you have questions you wanted answered? Did you feel disconnected or alone in your experience? And finally, I want to know, who made you feel taken care of and less afraid, and how did they do that? And if you feel comfortable, I'd like for a few of you to share your experiences whenever you're ready. Yes.
12 years ago, lost my house.
Mm.
And this congregation that pulled me out of darkness. They not only dug out everything I had left and wouldn't let me in the house while they were doing it, but they did everything they could to get me back on my feet. And that's something that, unless you've been through it, you have no idea how to approach it. You know, I remember standing there in front of the house thinking, well, it might be able to do this. And, you know, the reality was no, it had come down.
What was it, a storm or a fire?
Tornado.
Yeah.
And so I lost my house, my son lost his trailer at the same time. It was a real rough year, but in about a year's time, I was back. But like I said, it was this congregation that allowed me to cry, allowed me to laugh, allowed me to do what I needed to do in order to find my way back.
That's really important. Thank you for sharing. Shanta?
We had, during the same tornado, when power was out for days and days, a member of our church who was dependent on her electric wheelchair was in a bad spot, and his congregation helped him out. They got him a generator so that he could power up his wheelchair back. Thanks to everybody here. And that's
I know, I think of, my mom passed away about a year and a half ago, so whenever I think of like the disaster that altered the course of my life recently, that's the one that comes to mind. And y'all are right, like, thankfully I have a whole huge family, like a very large family. And we were able to all come together and share stories about her and connect with each other emotionally, and help us through that time. Any other stories we want to share? Great. Well, Shampa's been to our meetings before, and she shared her story of the 2011 tornadoes before. A big part of what Hometown does is go in communities that are affected by tornadoes and ask people about those experiences. What were your needs physically, intellectually? What did you need to know? Like you were saying, who do I call? What can even be done? Is my house livable? Is my house destroyed? And help them through the emotional turmoil that comes with not knowing the answers to those questions and not knowing whether or not they're going to have a roof over their head. And so thinking about disasters can obviously bring up a lot of negative emotions, and that's why we also, part of what Hometown does is bring spiritual and emotional healings when we can. So I want to thank you all for being vulnerable and open right now, and I have something to help us all remember we are safe in the here and the now. So if you're willing today, I'd like to lead you through a healing practice. This is the first time I've ever led this large of a group through a healing practice. If you want to learn from more experienced healers, please come to our meetings. There are people on staff who have done this hundreds of times. But if you're willing and able, I'd like to ask you all to stand up. So this is meant to awaken the chi or the energy in our body and recenter us in the here and now. It's a shaking practice. So if you have mobility issues, only do what you can. Don't feel like you have to fall over to do this, but just do what you can. And we're going to start with our right arm, and we're just going to give it a good shake. And you want to keep your wrist loose. Think of your fingers, your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders. You want them loose. shaking out that stagnant energy and allowing new positive energy to flow through. Good job, everybody. And now when you're through, you can stop moving your arm and start moving your right leg. You can shake it however you want, keep it on the floor, shake it out. Try to keep your hip loose, your knee and your ankle. Having a Taylor Swift moment, shake it off, shake it off. And then you can put your leg down, do your left arm. Again, try to keep everything loose. Notice if there's any tension. I know I carry a lot of tension in my shoulders. If there is, try to work that out. Maybe you carry it in your wrist, especially if you have a desk job, typing. And just think of that stagnant energy flowing out of your body and making room for new, revigorated energy. Now you can stop with your left arm and do the left leg. Again, just shake it all out, keeping it loose. Think about your hips, loosening in them. Okay, so whenever you're ready, you can lower your right leg. Now we're going to go into a full body shake. Don't worry about what you look like. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. If that makes you feel better, we're all going to look really goofy right now. If you have a date and you want to scare them off, do a shaking practice in front of them. So everybody, just your whole body. Ooh, my neck just popped. Yeah. And do a body scan. Just think head to toe. Where am I feeling tense? Where's the stagnant energy? Take some deep breaths while you're doing it. If you feel a sound bubbling up, you can do that. A nice yoga breath. Y'all feel shaken out? Good. Thank y'all for humoring me in that. Like I said, thank you all so much for humoring me and participating in those practices. I hope you feel more connected and centered and ready to start your week. If you want to go home and Google shaking practices, like I said, there are people who do a much better job of walking you through them. They're all over YouTube, so feel free to give them a look. I know a lot of you want to know more about the nuts and bolts of how Hometown works. Your intellectual energies are hungry for that, and I hear that. I'm going to give it to you. But I do want to be clear that these practices are a lot of what Hometown brings to the table, connecting people to their emotional and spiritual energies through story sharing and healing practices, especially people in rural communities, especially people who have gone through disasters. That's integral to what Hometown does, and it rejuvenates us to be better volunteers as we go out and try to serve these people. And so now for the nuts and bolts. Hometown Action was founded in December 2017 to build a multiracial, working class, and trans queer affirming movement to advance social, racial, gender, economic, and climate justice in rural Alabama. We also utilize mutual aid as a key organizing tool to build inclusive and sustainable rural communities. Who do we organize? We organize in small towns and rural communities across Alabama because we know these communities are full of diverse, powerful people who are ready to take action and make their communities better. And so we're building a leader-full movement of rural, BIPOC, trans and queer people and students and young folks who want to transform Alabama. So we have built a network of over 6,000 members and supporters in rural and small town communities across 61 of Alabama's 67 counties. And we have priority areas that include the Tennessee Valley, so where I'm from, Colbert, Lauderdale, Madison, West Alabama, Walker, Tuscaloosa, and Greene. That's the region I organize. Central Alabama, which includes Shelby and Chilton, and then the Black Belt, Dallas County, River Region, Montgomery County, as well as East Alabama, Lee, Tallapoosa, and Coosa. So that's all of our priority regions. Like I said, I work in Walker, Tuscaloosa, and Greene primarily. So that's who we are and who we organize and where we organize. Now I want to tell you about our different affiliations and program areas to tell you a little bit more about what we do and how we do it. So Political Healers has been a strong organizational collaborator with Hometown since 2021. Mick Lovegood is their founder, and she's our organizational director. They work at providing training, analysis, healing, and programmatic support across each of our key program areas. And their mission is to expand healing and trauma-informed practice in collective spaces through the development and promotion of BIPOC, trans, queer women, and non-binary people's leadership and cultural expressions and grassroots movement. So that's a separate organization, the Political Healers Project is, but they are tied closely to Hometown. Our key program areas are gender justice, climate protection, and disaster relief. I'll start with gender justice. They aim to make it politically dangerous to target trans and queer people. They do that through a few ways. They organize rural trans and queer people and allies to fight anti-trans legislation, create safe spaces for rural queer people, and developing new trans and queer leaders who will take bold action in the public arena. In 2018, we helped win the first Rural Non-Discrimination Act in Montevallo, Alabama. In 2019, we mobilized over 500 people to protest Alabama's abortion ban. And since 2020, we've consistently collaborated with other community organizations to fight anti-trans legislation in our state house. In 2023, we launched monthly virtual meetings, which I'll tell you more about later, which led to the first Rural Pride in 2024. And then my program, our climate protection program, aims to create a scalable model for cross-partisan rural organizing that can impactfully move the needle on the most defining issue of our time. Our primary goal is to establish community protection teams across rural Alabama. So we're out doing a lot of work on the ground right now in Walker County. Our dream is when a disaster strikes, we have a community protection team that's ready to go in that moment. But we're working towards that. These teams would prepare their communities for extreme weather, provide healing and recovery service in the wake of a disaster, and engage with state decision makers around a long-term climate agenda. So we start locally and small, and hopefully one day we can take on the state. In 2022, we launched a deep canvas in 10 rural communities across 5 counties. They were chosen based on diversity, small population size, counties where storms came through a lot. Those were the areas we wanted to canvas. We knocked on 6,187 doors and made 4,702 phone calls to have 1,033 deep conversations with rural residents about their experiences during storms. We're now moving into phase 2 of the project, working towards those local community protection teams and a healing road tour in each of those 5 counties. Yesterday, we were out canvassing in Sipsey, like I said. So that's a town in Walker County that was hit pretty hard by the March 15th tornadoes earlier this year. And getting into more of our mutual aid through the relationships established in that community, we're moving towards building a climate protection team to lessen the blow of increasing and intensifying storms. Because storms in Alabama are becoming more intense, they are increasing in number, and we want our communities to be ready. And finally, our disaster recovery program aims to organize rural communities who have been impacted by storms. And so we do this by engaging members in restorative action that builds relationships with impacted communities through mutual aid, like I was saying, through damage assessments, cleanup projects, and other repair projects. And so we actually go in the community, find out who needs help, and connect them to the people who can help them. And since 2019, we've organized and supported numerous community cleanups and supply drives across Alabama in counties like Dallas, Autauga, Coosa, Walker, Chilton, and Lee. And during the COVID crisis, we built 8 regional mask-making hubs that sewed and distributed over 200,000 masks. And just yesterday, an example of our disaster recovery, we connected a single mom. She's a teacher. She has 2 kids, a 5-year-old son who's nonverbal and a 2-year-old daughter. She got hit the hardest, like, of course, the one person who doesn't have insurance, who really doesn't have much money left over, her house is the one that got the most damage. And so yesterday, it just so happened, I was at a community fair. I met a woman who had some resources and manpower, and we were able to connect them, and work's already underway. Like, they went back yesterday night and was like, we can definitely do this. Started ripping up floors, putting a better tarp on the roof, and getting started working on that house. So hopefully Raven will soon have somewhere to call home again. Sorry, I'm not a good public speaker. My voice starts going out. So I want to close by asking you all to join us Thursday, April 24th at 6 p.m. So this is our monthly virtual community climate gathering. And so we'll talk more about that canvas and our initiatives in Maplesville and Plantersville and Matchaway, who were also impacted by those March storms. And if you're interested in that event or just want to learn more, please put your information on that clipboard. I'll be giving you a call or shooting you an email to give you more information about our events and what we're doing and things that are coming up. And we also have a virtual gender justice meeting that happens monthly. It's every third Thursday is gender justice. Every fourth Thursday is climate protection, both at 6 p.m. And then in lieu of either of those meetings in the month of June, we're going to have an in-person community gathering. So save the date of June 14th. It's Hometown's second Pride event, Rural Pride event, and we would love to have you all there. If you want, you can come up to me and get my contact information if you'd rather get my information. Shampa also has my contact, so feel free to reach out to her as well. Awesome. Yes, you can also sign up online. You can go to Hometown Organizing. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Haisha. Just want to add that I have circulated the invitation to the 24th meeting on Newsnet. You have to RSVP for it. So if you come across that on Newsnet, you could apply for that meeting, to attend that meeting.
It's not like we have to say, oh, they get it, everything. It's just, we'll send you the link automatically once you register. There's plenty of room for everybody. It's virtual.
Thank you.
And you already sent that email?
On Newsnet? Yeah. I think that forwarded it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes, if you would check, it's got an RSVP button.
And if you sign that paper, we'll also send you an email where you can register for that event.
Thank you very much. Important stuff. Teal Book, 1031, filled with loving kindness. Stand if you want to. Steve, could you come up here, please, and lead us? No, just kidding.
You want to have Ken play through it one time?
Sure, that's a great idea.
Yeah, can we get the statement?
So it looks like we go 3 times. Yeah, he's going to play it instrumentally one time first.
Beautiful song. At this time, we'll take any announcements that you'd like to share with the group. Anna?
I know that we usually do, the flower communion on Easter, but we're going to change it this year, and we're going to do a flower communion on Mother's Day.
That's a
I'll
good
urge
idea.
you when that comes out. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Crystal?
So I sent out this QR code, and my apologies, that's all that it's starting for some days to get so thank you all. But you have access to the survey and the newsletter, so what to, this is pretty much right, or link to this one, if you look on. And if you look easier out, I would like to get everyone who's a member can fill out the survey and give, some recommendations, or anyone you know, or you want to self-nominate, or all you're letting us know is who should we contact, who should we reach out to? If you think there's somebody, please feel free to share it as well. We have several open positions that all listed in that newsletter email, and then there's some new descriptions too. And if you could reach out, anyone who wants to, especially encourage new members who haven't known a leadership position before. It really is new to help guide and support and mentor. There's a lot of community who live in this congregation for many years and serve in leadership positions. And we just want to welcome you if someone's interested in and just feel like maybe a call into leadership. If you're not sure, then we'll go through what you want and what you just want to share information.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I'm going to tag along. Oh, Steve. Tag along because it ties in with what she's asking and requesting. Next month, there'll be new positions filled via vote. Remember, everybody gets a vote, so please exercise it. Please take all nominations. And it's very, very important. With this small of a group, every person's ideas, and wow, maybe there's something new you bring to the table. There is no just status quo here, okay? Ever changing. Enough on that. Any other? Steve?
Yeah, I just wanted to put the date on your calendar for the annual congregational meeting, to which you're all invited, whether you want leadership positions or not, but that's where we'll have our election. It's going to be May 18th, which I'm hoping is not Mother's Day. Mother's Day is the week before.
20th is
All right, well, May 18th, that's all I know, is May 18th is the congregational meeting. So be watching for something on Newsnet about that.
Thank you, Steve. Read this last night. Yes, ma'am.
So we have a Wednesday evening dinner together. It's going to be at the German restaurant Wall. Parking can be a little, difficult, more directions to do so. Yeah, I sent out an email about that. It's for all 6 o'clock. There is parking between the Embassy Suites and the next hotel down the hill. So you can park there, walk across the city. You can't find one person. But hopefully the cities will be evacuated. And also as far as cups, Julie will be at the Birmingham service for next week. And those things will go from, that's, following the service. So, if anyone's interested in that,
Yes, again, I encourage if you can, we'd hate to lose you here, but if you want to go to Birmingham and see that great piece of land and the church itself, it's fantastic. I read this last night and it kind of hit home. Let us continue to grow as citizens of our communities, our nation, and our world. Let us work to build a common good for ourselves and the generations to come. May it be so. In honor of the legacy of our ancestors, let us carry the flame forward as we extinguish the chalice. It's one of those candles.
We have one more announcement.
Oh, did we? I'm sorry, Sophie.
And
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for all being here. The service has ended. Please join us for coffee and conversation and an egg hunt for those kids at heart also. I think there's so many eggs that, and some of them actually have mini bottles of liquor. I'm just kidding. And again, for all the new faces, it's so awesome. Thank you for joining us.